guys, we're here in Qatar for the penultimate round of F1 Academy, and you can lap up the title this weekend.
Potentially.
It's been a pretty good year, hasn't it?
Yeah, not much has gone wrong, touch wood, so far.
What have you done differently to last year then?
I think a lot of it's been mentality. And after every race, I've just reset. And even if it's good, like, don't expect it to be good again. You know, you've got to work from the ground up every race, and every track's different. And yeah, working with Zimba, doing a lot of prep with him. Every time we've discussed about a million different run plans before we've come here.
I've done a lot of work on the sim before each event as well. I think being on this schedule with F1, the track can change quite drastically, session to session. And you can't always get the setup right to go with where the track's going. So I think it's really good in the simulator that she's tried two very different simulators, and we tried different balances in there as well. So she gets used to recognizing what the problem is balance-wise and driving around it as quickly as possible to get a lap time, which I think has helped a lot.
Do you feel from last year coming into this year that you've had extra pressure? Because I know you weren't necessarily tipped for being one of the favourites.
The pressure financially, yeah, I had to win, else I'm not going to continue, basically. So in that regard, there was quite a lot of pressure, but not, panicking by it, and just focusing on the process and everything that I've got to do to get to, the place where I can, try and get that championship prize.
I've certainly noticed that you're a lot more chill, and there does seem last year was particularly hard, and I know you've worked very hard in sort of mental side, but I guess you've got Zimba that I've worked with in the past, nearly won a title with.
Hopefully we don't repeat that statistic.
Oh yeah, no.
So hopefully you'll do the job, Abby. But
I'll try my best.
You knew Zimba before, so do you think that helped?
Yeah,
come into the season?
I think as well with me and Zimba has a lot of trust in my feedback and what I'm saying, and he trusts everything that I'm saying about the car, and I've got confidence in what I'm saying, and then that feeds into him, so he's got confidence in what he wants to change, and then his confidence feeds back to me, so we kind of bounce off each other really well. Don't want to say too much in front of him, but he's a very experienced, very smart man.
He's been around a long time, that's what you want to say.
Yeah. And in qualifying, we've been struggling halfway through, and Zimba's thought on his feet. We've changed the run plan, or we've changed something here or there, and it's really worked. So again, that comes from him trusting what I'm saying, and me trusting what the change that he's going to make is going to be effective.
Yeah, you've got to trust that what the driver's saying is what they're feeling. At the end of the day, if a driver says they've got massive oversteer or understeer, that could be induced by what they're doing in the car, and their inputs. And then it's about picking that apart and going, well, yes, that's what you're feeling, but this is why you're feeling it. And building that understanding of, if you change your inputs this way, you're going to solve the problem. And sometimes testing's really good for that sort of educational side of it, to try and get it right. But when you're in the moment, in the middle of a qualifying session, and a driver says, I've got this problem, you don't have time to look at data and go through things. And you've got to, from your testing and working together, you have to build an understanding of how much of a change do you need to effect for the driver to have the confidence that they can do a better job with what's underneath them, and how much do you leave alone? And the hardest bit, I think, is knowing when to leave things alone and telling the driver they need to do something different, and that's going to be enough, or when to actually change something. If we go all the way back to the start of the year, the 3-day test at Barcelona was quite hard work.
Did I make a good first impression?
The first 2 days were pretty difficult.
I did warn you.
I'd known Abbi for a while, but hadn't worked with her directly. So I needed to get an understanding of, when she says she's got slight oversteer or slight understeer or massive understeer or massive oversteer, how much that actually looks like on the data, just to gauge where her feedback is for different types of balance, and gauge how much of a change I need to effect for that. I did, after the end of day 2, stand there thinking, what I've got myself in for this year. But by the end of the 3rd day, we didn't top the times, but the performance was there. I think Abbi got quite a lot of fire in her belly after Jeddah, if I'm honest. I didn't tell her what the time difference was in qualifying, but I think it shocked her quite a lot when she saw the results after quali and saw we were almost half a second down from Dorian's. But because she got one of the race wins in the nature that she got it, I think that that fired her up a lot to prove a point since then.
Going into this weekend, the mentality is not going to change it. It's just copy and paste.
Yeah, from
what
the
you've
whole
been doing.
season. Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously I'm aware of how big this weekend could be, but I'm not putting pressure on myself. And I've still got Abu Dhabi. We've got a nice buffer from how well the season's gone. If something does happen here, we've always got the next race at Abu Dhabi. And yeah, I think just keep the consistency up, keep doing what we've been doing. It'd be nice to finish the year keeping the podium streak, but if we don't, we don't. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna put pressure on myself to do that. Just gonna drive with the feel that I've got, work with Zimba, tell him what I'm feeling, and I'll do my best to make it P1, of course.
We've got 2 more rounds left. Let's make sure we come out on top, shall we?
I do my best. I've tried. Will you do your best?
I've done my bit now.
Down to you, Abbi P, down to you.